Good evening and welcome to the Nighttime Heat right here on Prime FM 105.5. We are also relaying this program on Radio Gegema, that is in Nimba County, Radio Patika in Bonk, and of course Radio Wulogisi in Lofa County, from where our dynamic president, Joseph Human Boyka, hails. And of course, we are streaming live for this program also on Prime FM. Moravia 105.5. Again, Prime FM Moravia 105.5. We are also streaming live on our YouTube channel. Just that's our Nighttime Heat YouTube channel. Just tap Nighttime Heat, the three words, and of course you're going to subscribe, and then you also follow the show. You know, you want to receive regular notification, just hit the notification bell as soon as you subscribe. And of course, anytime the show is on, you're going to receive notification. We are also streaming live on our Facebook page. Again, go to where they have the search, and then you tap Nighttime Heat. As soon as you do that, you're going to follow the show, and then you watch the show. We want you to share the show tonight. It promises to be very, very, very feisty. It promises to be, interesting. So please, we want you to share the show so that your friends, your loved ones, your partners can all follow the show and be a part of what is happening tonight. Our country is mourning. We are mourning the death of the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs. We'll be looking at that between 8 to 8:30, and then at 8:30 we'll have our discussion, but we'll be looking at the former Minister of State, the fallen Minister of State, Sylvester Grisby. I've been knowing him for quite a long time, and I will continue to remember him. We'll be talking about that. That is between 8 to 8:30. As soon as my guests, my panelists, Moses Sandy and George Kennedy arrive. George just entered the hall. Tonight, this is the topic we'll be treating. A critical analysis of journalist John Colley's assertion of some public officials strangulating the media versus Montserrat County Senator Darius Dillon's defense. We'll be looking at that. Josh, that John Colley said something just a few days ago, expressing his concern that some public officials are strangulating the media. They are denying the media survivability. But this morning I received that tape from my colleague when Montserrat County Senator Darius Dillon pushed back on John Colley. So we'll be doing a critical analysis. And of course, all the guests tonight are all journalists, well versed, they are all they all understand their craft. And of course, we're expecting journalist Gabriel Williams. Gabriel Williams is based in the U.S. He's based in the U.S. The PL President Julius Carnaval, hoping you'll join us. Journalist Matthew Yamplu. Yamplu is supposed to be joining us anytime. He's a journalist as well. Journalist Frank Sinwula. Those guys will be joining us. And of course, journalist Charles Yates. I'm not too sure. Charles is supposed to be joining us. Journalist Burman, J.V. Burman. We worked together before. Journalist Alfonso Stewart. He should be joining us. And of course, journalist / Anthony Alora Musa Khan also supposed to be joining us. But in the meantime, let me try to welcome one of my panelists. But let's try to take a break quickly. Just a break, and then we'll be right back. Let's take a break.
Let's start.
Okay, so we are starting. We just took a break, and that was quite necessary. Like I said, tonight promises to be very feisty, very lively, and of course, it promises to be very interesting. Moses Sandy has just joined. Let me welcome Moses quickly. Moses, welcome to the Nighttime Heat, the first edition for this week. Moses, welcome.
Thank you so much. Like you said, tonight is going to be very interesting. Very interesting show tonight. What I can say is that we came to do tutorial. Tonight will be a tutorial for people who claim to be journalists. So we came to do tutorial for them. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, Moses. Thank you. And how was the weekend?
Oh man, it was great. I had spent some time with the family. Attended a meeting with AJA colleagues. You know, our convention is coming up. So we had a very lengthy meeting trying to finalize plan for the convention, holding chapter leadership election and stuff like that. I'm grateful that everything went well and we are alive. And let me say hi to my friend and brother, George. It's a pleasure to see you, Mr. Kennedy. Thank you.
Okay, let me also welcome George. George, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mr. Sandy. Also, thank you so much, you guys, for holding AJA so strong in the U.S.
Yes, you are doing well.
Yes, you guys are doing well. I want to
appreciate. He's the president emeritus.
Okay, Mr. President emeritus.
He headed the institution before, and he did not make access to the U.S.
An AJA invitation to someone George or George Kennedy is a matter of ease. It's a matter of ease.
So even the U.S. embassy hasn't ready.
Yeah,
so we're here tonight, you know, to erect the necessary checkpoints to those who say, claiming a lot of things, even though they try to issue their own addendum that they are political commentators, this and that, but we will be erecting the necessary checkpoints to tell them the difference between what you do and what journalism is and what journalists do. Let's face the truth. Everywhere we go, we are not here to go against anyone, but your ideologies. If you bring in a contradicts a professional ethics, we will tell you. If you don't listen, well, you're left with the people who gave you the power to decide. So I want to say thank you, Mr. Sobot. Thanks to our ever-potent, strong, well-prepared technicians behind the scene. I want to say to the public, you are welcome again. Thank you for always listening to us. We want you to please share the show so that other people can be able to follow. Thank you so much.
Okay, and let me just add up. This program is basically intended to bring all sides to the table. It's not a program to just, blow the horns of the government or blow the horn of the opposition. When in fact, if it happens that we have maybe a government minister on the program on a Monday, on the Wednesday we'll do a panel discussion, to look at what the minister has said. So this program is designed in a unique way. I don't know, and I receive a call, and that's a call, but I receive a text. From the higher ups. In fact, I started accusing me of being part of those who are being critical of being critical of the class we eluded. No, I'm not critical. I just tell people how I feel. I'm a professional journalist, and I want to do it the way I'm taught in the classroom. I'm sure if Joe Morba was alive or other professor, Haji Vikroma was alive. He will say, yes, George, you are saying the truth. I'm not against any class reloaded. I'm only saying professional journalists should have handled it, and then the rest of the other people come in and that's all I say. It's not criticism.
And that's all we say.
But sometimes
here,
people look at you or say, things that you talk, it's their own way of reacting to things, Some individuals do have thin skin, but I believe, this program is not intended to castigate anyone. This program is intended to bring all sides to the table, to discuss the positives of the government, to discuss the negatives of the government, to discuss the positives of the opposition, to discuss the negatives of the opposition, to discuss the even those who are not in position. We gave major coverage to recently to the march, about the march concerning the issue of the rescue youth. So this program is not designed to be anti to anybody. So we're hoping that our people who are in government will not see it that way. They will see it that, look, there's another voice somewhere. And we didn't stop anybody from coming on this program. When we launched the program, the first person I even invited was the Minister of Information. And the reaction from him, he said, I don't know the agenda of the program, so I wouldn't appear. Can you imagine that a Minister of Information would say, I don't know the agenda. Does the program have any bad agenda? But that's the people's reaction. That's the way people react to things. Well, we are not enemies. This program is not designed to be an enemy to the state. No, we can't. We believe in the ideology of the president. We believe in the programs and policies of the government, but we believe they must be touted the best way they can be touted. So, gentlemen, let's. I don't like to talk too much. Moses, you're just looking at me. I don't talk too much. Gentlemen, we start on a very bad and sad note. The country is mourning. Let me hear from you, from Moses. How did you feel when you got the news about the passing of the former Minister for Presidential Affairs, Sylvester Grisby?
Well, look, so it is good that you raised this. As a human being, when someone dies, everyone gets bothered because death affects families. So I was emotionally touched. I sympathize with the family. I sympathize with the governor of Liberia. And I hope that the Almighty God will keep the family in upbeat as they go through this difficult moment. Death is a path that everyone will have to tread, whether you like it or not, whether you have money or not. Everyone will have to tread. So I really sympathize with the family. But quickly, George, something that stood out to me, the hypocrisy of the Liberian society. When Minister Grisby was living, I knew later about some of the good things that this guy did in the country. Every time I heard about the former minister in the media, it was all about negativity, especially the guys from Spoon Communication. They threw all the allegations at him. He was dishonest, he was this, he was that. Even one of the panelists, an older man, Samuel Jackson, he once referred to Minister Grisby as being unable to perform because of his age, and that he wasn't up to the task. But guess what? After the minister died, Jeremy, I was listening to Paul Kias that day. The very people who said all the negative things about the former minister, I heard Samuel Jackson refer to this man as a consummate public official, a friend of the Samuel Jackson. So I was wondering, I said, but Mr. Jackson, you threw this guy under the bus. You said all the worst thing about him. And today you call him a consummate, public officials. So it just spoke a lot about how unstable, how contradictory we are, and how insincere we are. It really bothered me. If you say this person was such a terrible person, now he dies, overnight he becomes a hero. Let me stop there, guys. I was really bothered by that.
Yes, let's hear from you, George.
I will just pick up from where Mr. Sandy ended. In fact, I knew little or nothing about Honorable Grisby.
Yeah, surely.
The last time he came to to prominence in his government was allegation about him stealing money to purchase vehicles. And all the negatives from the other side, people, even some people, even in the system, they were criticizing. But later, when he died, in fact, his sickness, he was sick. It was not even that publicized. I mean, I personally didn't know much how serious his sickness was. I heard say he traveled to the U.S. This and that. So I didn't know. Later to hear that he passed, and people, those who used to buy more of him while he was living, they are now praising him, praising the good work that he did. I think that's a huge contradiction. And I want to use this medium to extend my deepest sympathy to the government and people of Liberia, to the bereaved family, from what, in fact, some of his photos when he and President Boakai were in school, where he was sophomore president and President Boakai was then president of the Senate at the time. They were very young and low. They so resemble, you know. So it tells you, in fact, some people say, oh, that Madam Salif pushed the Minister Grace Bay on President Boakai to sit there as her eyes. A lot of negative things. And that's why we're saying people were not able to speak to the independent media. People were not able to say, to really explain, to really publish to us the real profile of this man. Who is this Minister of State? It's not because he's there now today, people are coming to say all the positive things. I think it's a contradiction. We need to change the way we live. We should celebrate the living than the dead, in my opinion. I think when someone is living, we should treasure them. We should give those positive stories. If they did negative things, we should talk about it. And, you know, but the man cannot die, then you come talking all the good things about him. I mean, it's contradiction. We have to change our behavior in this country towards, our people. Like, for example, what we're saying today on the radio about what's happening between us, between the independent media and the other people. We are also saying the good things they're doing and saying the bad there, you know, whatever they're doing. I mean, it's necessary that way. You understand? Then waiting until God forbid something happen, then we say, oh, this person was so good, he was nice, or she was this. Something is wrong. It's wrong. So, Minister Grace Bay, personally, some of us, wherever your soul is, may God bless you. May God give you resting place. We now know who you are in the public domain. Some of your critics now who used to say you are the worst person today, they are coming out and say, no, you are actually one of the best Liberia had. And you know this and that. So may your soul rest in peace.
And of course, let me say I've been knowing the fallen Minister of State during his days when he served in the administration of former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. In fact, I visited his home. I was a regular, you know, he used to live in New Georgia Estate. I was always there. He's a very good friend of mine. He knows what I stand for. I conducted a couple of interviews with him. So I know him very well. And you know, when I heard it, I was broken, I was saddened, and I said to myself, I said, wow, another hero had fallen. And like you said, all of you guys, this man, when he was appointed in the administration, in this current administration, there were lots of fights, you know. Yeah. There were lots of things people said about him, even on the Spoon Network. You know, they were critical of him. I took this, I took that, and they said a lot. And in fact, because of me, that old man was criticized. Let me say this.
Your issue.
Oh yes, my issue. Because he really wanted me to serve in this administration. And I know where his soul is. He said, yes, somebody's saying the truth. He said, I know who you are. I know your professionalism. I'm not going to believe all of the Amy-Wandus and the lies. And he recommended to me. He placed my name on the list, submitted to the president, because he believed in me. He knew the type of person I am. That minister was that today. That I felt broken. Wow. That old man. But again, because he did so, people fought. And I know some of those who fought him, some of those who said all lot of lies in the one news about the old man, because they said, oh, the old man was pushing my interest. I know them very well.
He's a communist man.
He's a communist man. I know what they said about the old man. So I'm just shocked, that's the way this world is. You are alive, people wouldn't praise you, they wouldn't say anything, they'll vilify, they'll condemn you, they'll badmouth you. But as soon as you died, then they say, oh, the man was the best. Because of me, this old man was highly criticized. And there are individuals who, when the letter was done, there are people who went to in the president's ears. Oh, Mr. President, don't accept what the recommendation that the Omer Graceway has given to you. This old man was the one who put my name on the list. And I'm saying they will find his stupor. Because he believed in me. He knew the top person I am. Today, some of them want to say, oh, the old man was. But his death just shows to many of us who are alive today, and some who are in government, that look, never you conspire against anybody to deny them bread, to deny their family bread. Never you do that, because you don't know when your life, when your voice will be hushed in death. You never know.
My pastor said that.
You never. Yes.
That yesterday. Yes.
And all of those who are part of conspiracy against their fellow, brothers and sisters, they will pay for it. It takes 100 years. You will pay for it. At the end of the day, your voice will be hushed likewise in death, because you don't be so wicked to your fellow brother. Just because this old man was fought, he was criticized, he was condemned by some of those who they were around, because the old man placed my name on the list. And like I said, if I didn't attend any hardcore individual funeral, I will attend his funeral. I'll be there, because I know who he is. I've been knowing this old man from the days that he served under President Sirleaf.
Very quiet.
And he was able to manage his relationship very well. This old man who they said he was with Cummings.
Yeah.
So to tell you that there's a man who, yes, he was with Cummings, you were with Ellen, to serve as presidential press secretary for two presidents, the former and the current. That tells you that he has something that many young people need to go for.
Yeah.
That many young people should have learned from. But many of us, we didn't learn from. We're just working. Some of them were just working with him, but they didn't learn anything from the old man. So all of those who were part of conspiracy, I will say this again, to deny that fellow, know that there's one day, reckoning day is there.
Yes.
You'll pay for it one day. When your voice is hushed in there, then you say, "I know," But it's terrible. It's terrible. We get so wicked to each other and say things against each other and badmouth each other, and at the end of the day, then we want to act like we so perfect or we love the person, And like Moses said, every night, and last night when I was listening to the radio, one caller, the first female caller, the person called and said, "Look, Stanton, you must be responsible also for the woman's death, because you were always on the woman's back. Pressure as well. You were always on this woman's back. What did he do? What did he do, rather? What has he done?
Yeah.
What bad did he do? Is it the bad thing to come and work with his friend? It's troubling, man. That's why I continue to say Liberia will not go far. For us to reach the standard of Ghana in terms of development, it will take us years. It will not be our generation, even our children's generation. No, it will not be. Because the heart that we have in this country, we are so wicked and devilish against each other. New administration comes to power, that's our time. That myopic thinking, that's our time. And so we will be doing it, that's our time. Jada, you got time. Let the woman go home. Tomorrow it could be somebody else.
Yeah, sure.
So you don't claim any time. You don't think that because you in power today, so you can do anything to anybody. You can conspire to deny anybody. But Moses, you are coming in.
No, quickly, I just wanted to say, look, like you said, Sober, this man was hospitalized. Stanton Witherspoon and his crew as Spoon Network. Can you imagine a convicted felon continuously threw death at this man? He continuously can you imagine you in hospital and the man was still pounding on this guy. Why do you treat another person like that? You know,
That's wrong.
it's very
Very
sad. Very sad.
Yeah. But that's the kind of society we find ourselves today.
Yes, that's the kind of society.
We bash at people. We fight people from getting to prominence. We use good people. Whenever good people come into the system, we destroy them. We
Yeah.
make them to be bad people. So how will our system work when good people are not celebrated?
Yeah.
We need to celebrate the good people and vilify the bad people. I think that's what we need to do as a society. We cannot be in a society where we are so much against professionals.
We are.
And, when you go to school, you go far, it's a crime in Liberia.
And that's the reason why Labroso will mean against.
Yes,
And I
cannot do
continue to
that.
say, former President Sirleaf came and played her part and she left.
Yeah.
Former President Weah played his part. The current President Bouakai will play his part. He will not reach to the level of Ghana in terms of development, because our minds, we have not worked on our psyche. We have not worked. We still see each other as enemies. Because the man is, was not part of the, I would say, so the man is an enemy. Because the man is not part of the party, so the man is an enemy. But we don't see professionals. We come to power, we don't see the overall good of the country. Rather, what we see is partisan. Since the man is not a partisan, we have to exclude him. It's troubling for our country. We saw it in the past. We've seen it again. So what will make Labrador progress?
And that is why some of us from within, we came to this show to say, let's look from within and from out there. Let's play with everybody. Let us welcome everybody. When it comes to governing, it's different from political campaigning for office. This is the time to govern. So that is why you see some of us, even our best friends, even on class reloader, some of us telling us, say, my man, let's open up. What is wrong if you appear at Freedom FM? You pay for airtime, you appear there. They have their own audience.
Yeah.
What is wrong? Even class radio, all the opposition, so-called opposition radio stations that you see, you pay for airtime, you appear there. Some of the bad things they're saying about you, you go there and right the wrongs, provide the clarity. As you do it continuously, you will split their audiences. You will be able, they got people that will balance mind, but they believe in the station, they will always listen to the station.
Yeah.
So I think there's a need, the communication policy you were talking about the other time. But yeah, they should look at it and let's govern. Let us govern. I heard what you said when you invited him here. What he said, that was very wrong.
When the program was launched, the first minister of this government I invited Minister Pia, and he told me, I can't come there because I don't know the agenda of the government. How can you, as a minister of information? Then when you say it, they say, oh, you critical. They're not being critical. But as a minister of information, if I'm minister of information and the program calls me, they invite me, I will go there.
Yes.
Because it is my duty to attend or to appear on all programs, because I have the responsibility to tout what the government is doing. Then when we are not going to accept, I don't have anything to say.
So, but someone can still invite him. You can still invite him.
Yeah, maybe you can invite him for your. Let me speak to David Koti quickly. Dave want to chip in so that before we can put our guests on. Yes, Dave, let's hear from you.
Thank you very much. Do you know that I don't go to wake and funerals? It is simply because of that assertion made by Mr. Sandy about Sam Jackson and all of those who were criticizing this man when he was alive. I saw, when I was a school principal in Norfolk County in 1982, something happened. The town chief of the town was very sick. Nobody could help him. Nobody. I used to give my little $1, $2 to help him. Whenever he wanted to go to the hospital or buy some tablets, he sent his children to me. But some people in the town that I met there were always saying negative things about him. His grandfather was wicked as a chief, and his father became chief, he was wicked. That's why he's suffering. All kinds of negative comments. But when the man died, 2 cows came from Guinea that same week. And you should have been at the funeral to listen to comments, deceit, Oh, I know, well, if I never, I think Mr. Kennedy knows what I'm talking to the Loma man back then. Look, these people praise him as if to say he was the best man in the whole time, but they never did anything for him. They criticize him. So I agree with your session, Mr. Sandy and you gentlemen. This is total wickedness and it has to stop.
Mm-hmm.
As for me, I love myself for one thing. If I hate you while you are alive, I will hate you while you are dead. I don't pretend. I would never pretend my whole life. I don't like you, you will know. So I agree with you guys, and I'm going to listen and follow the show. I listen to top journalists today. You're going to be calling. Most of them are very good friends. I'll be laying back here watching and listening.
Okay.
I decided to call and throw this in quickly. I agree
Thank
with
you
guys 100%. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cody. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have to desist from this, and this will make our country to remain underdeveloped. At the end of the day, sometimes, because the way we behave, so our country is supposed to get aid. We're supposed to get assistance from international, for the international community, for international partners.
Yeah.
It's delaying because the way we behaved. We see the government job as if that's the only thing. And another caller wants to call in quickly, but we're not taking calls now. We'll shortly, we just allow Mr. Cody. People they feel that in office, so they can do anything anytime. They can conspire against anybody. They can lie. But at the end of the one day, you'll pay the price.
Certainly.
You will surely pay the price.
The gasoline they call generational cost.
Surely.
And if you personally don't, sometimes your
children should not go through it.
So if you see some of the people suffering today from childhood all the way, sometimes some of them parents in the past.
Surely.
And traditionally, some people say, look, this happened, this and that. We are in Africa. Sometimes, even in the West, sometimes some of the God punish generations. The people that commit a certain crime at certain time, certain sin against God, sometimes
okay.
They didn't do anything, but later their families started feeling the weight.
Okay. So let's try to connect with our guests quickly. I understand our guests are on already. We have some of our guests on. We have Alfonso Tuay. Alfonso Tuay is on. He's a journalist, Liberian journalist. Tonight, also journalist. We intend to invite Mr. Journalist Gabriel Williams. He's based in the U.S., a Liberian journalist. Musa Kane. Musa is an Antonin law. Let me try to respect him for that. Matthew Yamplu is on. I'm sure the rest of the team will soon also join us. Gentlemen, okay, let me leave it with you guys. Moses and Josh, you can invite greet our guests quickly so we can start.
Okay, so I would like to say it's good that we have all the media gurus in the house tonight. I'm very happy, guys. I live in the United States, National President Emeritus of AJA, the Association of Liberian Journalists in America. So it is indeed a pleasure to have all of you in the house because we have come to discuss a topic which has to do with our career. So I'm sure this is going to be a very good discussion. So welcome. It's a pleasure to have all of you.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, it's a pleasure. I'm George Kennedy, formerly of the Daily Observer newspaper. So tonight we are happy to have people in studio, some of you guys, and I work, in the mainstream. We are not streaming one another, and it is our hope that, we'll be able to provide the professional side of our career to the public and to those who want to abuse it, so that we can erect the necessary checkpoints, distinguishing ourselves from what others are doing, so that the professional media will remain professional as the public sees. Thank you so much. You are welcome.
Okay, so gentlemen, let me add my voice to thank all of you for joining us. First, we want to hear from Mr. We'll be placing a call quickly. Instead of playing the voice, we want to just place a call to Mr. John Colley. If we don't get him, we'll play the voice, but there's a need to hear from him quickly, and so we're trying to connect with him. And then after which, we'll also play the tape of Montserrat County Senator Darius Dillon. Tonight we're trying to do a critical analysis of what John said before, and then versus the defense from Senator Darius Dillon. So tonight, that's the discussion we'll be holding. We're trying to connect with Mr. John Corley. Okay, I'm sure Mr. Corley should be on the line by now. Mr. Corley, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Sopo. I'm happy to join you.
Okay, you have a few of your colleagues who are also on the program, all journalists. Alfonso Tuai, Gabriel Williams from the U.S., Musa Kamen, Antonin Alon, Matthew Yamplu, and the rest will be joining us as soon as possible. Tonight we're trying to do a critical analysis of your assertions. You made a few days ago versus Senator Montserrat County Senator Darius Dillon's defense. But we want to hear from you. First, what were you saying? What was the message that you were trying to send across?
Well, my message was simple, and Brother DeLong, who and I have known each other for years, I would be surprised if he had a serious problem with what I was talking. I would simply say that they government officials are unceremoniously and are strictly taking also the responsibility of hearing and this would indeed deny the media of the needed required support for their survival. So this is something I can take heed of and try to change for the better. So I am hearing, I've been out of town actually during the debate for Hutu elections, by-election over there, and I talked to Monrovia, and I heard he has a lot of problem with it, but that's obvious. This is democracy. And all I was saying was simply, listen, man, if you run the reload, as they call it, just get journalists to facilitate it for you, because that's their job. If you are accusing people of journalism and you are yourself an incompetent person in terms of this profession, you cannot be the doer. This was my problem, and I'm surprised that Brother DeLong has problem with that, because it was simply to put him on the right guard, and I hope he understands it. And I know he knows that I am competent enough to question what he's doing, what they are doing. How can Mo Ali, a director of usually engineering institutions such as SOA, be a journalist on a radio show today, interviewing fact journalists. And so I had a problem with that, and I still stand by that.
Okay.
Being a journalist myself, I feel that they are denying us a right place in this society. There are 3 or 4 branches of our government indirectly, or 4 branches of society: executive, judiciary, legislative, and the press, of course, for the state. So why are they stealing out part of the show? And this is my problem with Brother DeLong, and I hope he understands that, so we can fix it and run a better state than what we are running now.
Okay, many thanks, John. Many thanks. Let me play this tape also, so that you all can get John very well and clearly, because I'm sure some of you on the show maybe did not hear him. Let me play this tape quickly. Let's take a listen. Yes, you can upload and play.
I have been using my own system that I built for I don't know how long. He claims to have built one in Bapolu for 200 grand. Just about the same system I built for $35,000. It's working. It's been working. My whole system around the country. I mean, so well working. But instead of sitting down overnight to think on these things, these guys are on the radio all day. Leave that with us who chose them. I just think they are too mean. So they're trying to mean you, Odile. So they don't want to give you anything for the reason you went to school. So Mo Ali and Patrick Ona, who is now my little brother there, who is now LTA chief, a government man, if they are going to be journalists, then what do we eat? How do we eat? Have we thought about this? These guys are destroying the media. We need money to survive. This is all of our country. This country,
no commercials on radio.
Appeal to the government people. to leave the media with us. They are stealing our profession. This is wrong. They are denying us livelihood. What we learn to live on. And if they are doing it, they will not give us contract. They got our money. This is our country's money. Their money not for day alone. These guys shouldn't be mean like this. Leave us, let's run the media. We will help you if we strike deals. But please do not steal our profession the way you're doing it. You're denying us livelihood. Younger people, okay, I can afford, but younger people who have nothing, imagine that. Those boys have turned to beggars. Is our More Than One? Is our Patrick One? Is our Charlie Maywood One? Is our, what do you call the other journalist? The other journalist.
Uju Vagnon?
No, the other journalist.
Who's the other journalist? Dylan? Oh, talk show host.
The man a journalist, a talk show host now.
Senator.
He got some of the money. Imagine if he has to attend a talk show, now you got it, oh, you're not coming to us.
No, he have one of the highest followers on the Facebook.
The
so
class
you
reloaded.
that when he share it on the social media, it's okay.
They're empty.
Went down.
Today they got money, they got some government money, all the client loaded. But by the time they, these guys forget, all of them.
Okay, so gentlemen, that was John Colley. Again, we wanted to share the show. We are streaming live on FM Monrovia 105.5 and also streaming live on our YouTube channel, Nighttime Heat. Just type Nighttime Heat on your Facebook, on your YouTube channel. We are also streaming live on our Facebook channel, Nighttime Heat. And let's try to listen to Montreal County Senator Darius Dillon.
I want to do it on ERBC and simulcast it on about 4 to 5 radio stations this week before I travel. Those of you who know John Colley, a very known media person, journalist, he used to run this thing they call Talking John Studio. He interviewed candidate Weah in 2005 when he heard about that privatization, he interviewed George Weah. And he normally hosts or does these debates, senatorial debates here and there, and all that stuff. John Colley goes on the radio and advising politicians from stop intruding into their journalism field. Politicians must stick to their politics and leave journalism. So I'm asking myself, what is journalism? So the way I'm talking to you now, am I a journalist? Does John Colley understand what a journalist is? From a podcaster or a political commentator? Does he understand that? John Colley and some media people are either uncomfortable because some of us, even though in political offices, we are telling our own story because they fail to tell the story in a balanced way. The journalist is supposed to know and live by the thing they call ABC in journalism. Accuracy, balancing the story, and the story must be correct. ABC of journalism. You listen to every radio now get talk show. Journalists, they place journalism should be practiced and no less is on the news. The news. Even in the journalism field, a commentary by a journalist, the editorial rating by the newspaper is the thinking, the opinion of that newspaper, the editorial. The commentary of a media person or a journalist is their opinion. The news must be accurate, balanced, and correct. That is where journalism is. Everywhere around the world, those of you who follow me now and live in America, almost every lawmaker in the U.S., go Ghana, Canberra, Sierra Leone, go Ivory Coast, they have their podcast to interact with the people. If I did something positive, and because you media have turned politics, you turn to politician. You say I'm supporting the other politician, and I'm supporting Dillon as a politician. He owns a story, I will not report it. So then the public takes it that Dillon not doing anything because they're not hearing about Dillon. Then Dillon can say, okay, I will tell my own story now. Then you vex. Well, more besides, John Colley talked to the radio and said, Dillon, we beg you, you leave our profession. Dillon, you mean, you don't be mean to the media people, to the journalists. John Colley, along with Senator Lawrence, are carrying the boat of bourgeois radio. We employ journalists, we got station manager, business manager, we get reporters, we pay them. When I decide to be a guest or to hold my podcast to interact with my people, I'm not doing journalistic work. I'm not reporting the news, and I'm not castigating somebody. I am not saying somebody said this and then I did not get the side of the story to balance it. When you, the journalist, decide to be journalist, report the news. Whether if the news is negative, but it must be true. There are some things that are negative. If I stole money, for instance, that's negative news for me, but it's true. If I stole and the media reported it, that I stole, it is a negative news for me, but it is a true news. That's journalism. You're really beyond politics. Almost every media institution in the country got some kind of politician or some kind of political party allegiance they have, and they damage one person's character and promote another person at the detriment of other people's reputation. And you expect me, Darius Dillon, who is media savvy like this, no public relations, I sit down, greet people like you, John Colley, who got no spine. We can't tell me that I'm going to lead journalism where are we in journalism? They think I'm doing a journalism. I'm in the article of my people, I'm holding a podcast. I'm not reporting news. I'm not reading news. John Colley, I'm coming for you and some of your own people who crying while we open Class Reloaded. We open Class Reloaded because we can sit down, we form a government, made a government, and then one group of people decide that send their own microphone, they will be negative toward the country and say nothing positive is happening in the country and honor the government at all. And when we can tell our own story, we come in to tell our own story, we are telling our own story, then we presenting our own narrative. And then, so the people who may be feeding you, reducing what they were feeding you, then you won't get angry. You journalist. Okay, so let me be clear. Get the public and get us say, the people in government corrupt. We're out having a sense to say it's not possible for everybody to be in government corrupt. Just because everybody in government, everybody cannot be corrupt. Because some people in government probably may be doing it or actually doing it, does not mean everybody. By the time they say media people, they are quacks. And they say black male, we put black on that person and they don't attack the media. But you see the media people, They report that John Colley went on radio and said Dillon then, especially Tyler Dillon, he mean when I get our journalism fee. Let me tell you something. I lie on my ticket, yeah. It hurt my character. It hurt my conscience. I live with it. That was a negative story, but it was true. Against me, it was true. I didn't take it up on anybody. I took it up on myself. But when I'm doing something positive and you refuse to report it because reporting it would mean promoting me against the people who gave you something every month, to hell with you. I am saying that, John Colley. I'm going on the radio this week. I will speak to this. Cloud Reloaded, we will sponsor it continuously. We will make sure that it will grow bigger. We will get more than 100 radio stations across the country, community radio stations, to tell the government story. So you, the blackmailers, you think that you alone get microphone in front of you, that you alone can just get up. Every morning, the whole country wicked, everybody changed in the country. Everybody in government got up one morning and said they will be bad and corrupt. Every expenditure of government is corruption. Every paper you see with money on it, somebody told the money to the house. Is that journalism, that nonsense what some of you can be doing? Is that journalism?
Okay. So, but I don't know why you're giving him a very long air time, you know.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We can continue. The fact that the senator can go that route, to begin using invectives on the program, we can continue with that. We don't have to expect that from the senator. Even if you are emotional, you have to control your emotion. You can insult on the platform. But gentlemen, let me welcome all of you, and let's begin with you, Mr. Gabriel Williams. You based in the U.S. You followed, you listened. Let's hear from you your opening comment.
Well, Saba, thank you so much, for the opportunity to come on your program tonight. A few times you tried, bringing me on, and then you woke me up this morning. And since then, I decided I would be here. So thank you. But, since this is something I'm just being acquainted with, it's always wise. The people say, our old people used to say, when you go in your village or in your town, you walk behind the people, you follow their footsteps. Where the creeks are, where they have their little vegetable gardens, you're going to know if you jump ahead of them. So since this is my first time, I will submit to the rest of the team, and then I will come last. And it's also a pleasure to see my friend and brother Moses. I didn't know Moses was, positively, he was, how you call it, actively associated with your program, because he also has this very good program, that deals with social services and those kinds of things. And I think, with his expertise, that will be used on, the broadcast media, both radio and television, to help our country at a time when we're dealing with drug and other addictions. This man is on radio, or online on a regular basis. So, beyond his people who listen to his listeners, beyond his listeners, it's just as limited as that. Whereas he comes every day, to provide, information with respect to drug addiction and how these matters can be addressed. So I will submit there and allow all of the good colleagues to come, and then I will come in later with better understanding. Thank you.
Okay, many thanks, Gabriel. Let's hear from you, Mr. Alfonso Tua, your opening comment.
Well, thanks. I think the heat is on. Night time. The heat is on. It's good to be on the program. So I listened to Senator DeLong and my colleague. I think when the program starts, discussion starts, I will speak what I'm supposed to say. Thank you.
Okay, let's hear from you, Anthony Alor Musa Kane, your opening comment.
All right, thank you so much for the invite. Thank you to everybody on the show tonight. First of all, I want to say Senator DeLong, Brother DeLong, we know him. He grew as a result of the media. I was in Liberia. I was a journalist when Brother DeLong was the chief of staff for Senate. Because Snow at the time, he was again chief of office staff for Senator Taylor. I was here when Brother Dillon was charged with contempt of the legislature. He was sent to the prison because of free speech. I was also here, and all through those years, up to Brother Dillon becoming a senator, it was through the instrumentality and support of the media that he's criticizing today.
You mean the independent media?
Well, no one knew Brother Dillon.
I mean,
Yes,
I said you mean the independent media.
My point is, when no one knew Brother Dillon, yes, when no one knew Brother Dillon, the independent media was there for him. When Brother Dillon went to prison for free speech, we were there for him. More than 10 years ago, we were there. And the result of all the promotions, the result of having Brother Dillon on the radio day, night, afternoon, is what he's reaping from today. But the least he could do is to respect the institution that made you. I was shocked, disappointed to listen, not just his disregard for this profession, but for the usage of invectives as a leader, as a senator, and someone who is well respected in the public space. We will talk about the merits and the demerits of the discussion, but initially is to express and register my disappointment in the usage of words, the terms, and the phrases all through the discussion that night. We, as the media, independent media, should come out, stand firm to protect this institution. I know the media is now polarized, very polarized. You know why? Because about 80% of the media institutions in Liberia are owned by political party individuals or people affiliated with politics. Because of that, it is difficult to establish who is a journalist, what is independent media, and what constitutes an independent institution. We understand all of that. It is because of Brother Dillon and his colleagues that the media landscape in Liberia is where it is today. Brother Dillon is the board member of a radio station in Liberia that pays journalists less than $50. They do not even pay some of them. It's because of that the profession is in the mud. All they can do, place the profession in the mud, and then come back to us and insult us. So again, I want to say thank you for this interview. As we go through, we're going to speak to the issues. We're going to discuss the content of the speech, but this is just my initial statement to express my dissatisfaction in Brother Dillon. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Anthony. We really appreciate your time on the program. Let's hear from Mr. Yamplu. Your opening comments as well.
Well, thank you very much, Sobo. I'm happy to be on your show. Thank you for inviting me. I'm glad to be in the company of very great Liberians. Mr. Williams, happy to see you. It's been a while at the start of Mr. Shelly's administration. I remember you held a role, and then since then you left Liberia. But good to see you.
Thank you.
Mr. Attorney Law Musa Kenne. Happy to see you all. Mr. Toa, good to see you. But let me start on this note. You see, Sobo, our country is in trouble. Yeah, our country is in trouble. And that trouble we face today is leadership. Recently, I wrote about the topic symbolism. Here you are. Here you have the senator of Montserrado County, Darius Dillon. you have a constituent of Mosorado County, John Colley. He expressed what is a rightly placed frustration given the difficult economic situation that the media is experiencing in Liberia today. And Senator Dillon takes upon himself to reply John Colley. Here are his errors. He represents John Colley at the Senate as a senator. I don't know when last Dillon ever visited Carisburg to have a meeting there, or in the Fender area to have a constituency meeting to hear from the people what's going on. What they do at Capitol Hill, they just lead and represent by heart. What they think is right for their counties is what they do. Their decisions, their actions on Capitol Hill are not informed by what their people say and what their people want. So you have the man who is employed by John Colley's taxes is entering into a crossfire with the man who is his employer. If Colley and the other people and other Liberians do not pay taxes, those people will not have a job. John Colley has an enormous investment right after Fender in Montserrat on the road of Kakata. So he's an employer. Here you are, an employer is saying that the action the government is taking is economically strangulating us. And the only thing that you can hear coming from the senator and say we'll continue to do what is strangulating you even more. I don't know how are they leading Liberia. But it brings us down to the point about education. Those who are in power, unfortunately, they need to be educated as to how to lead our country. And it comes down to the point that we continue to raise the economics. Is the government taking economically sensitive actions? Is the government acting to put money in the pockets of Liberians? If the government was doing that, Mr. Colley would not be lamenting as he has done.
Let's go there. That's your opening comment. We'll talk about the specifics. Let's go there. Let me hear from two of my panelists. Moses, any opening comment, and we'll get to George.
Yes, thank you, Sobot. I'm ready, engaged. So just give me a few minutes. Let me try to draw the dichotomy between who is a podcaster and who is a journalist. Whether podcaster can be held accountable to media ethics. And let me provide a little bit of tutorial for Senator Dillon. You know, Dillon presents himself as the jack of all trades or master of none. I heard you talk about the ABC of journalism. So let me correct the senator publicly. In journalism, when we talk about the ABC, I heard the senator say accuracy, balanced, and correct.
Correct.
It's so sad that the senator chose to disgrace himself publicly because he doesn't know what he was talking about. In journalism, when we talk about the ABC, we're talking about what? Accuracy, brevity, meaning conciseness of a story. We don't want stories to be worded, long and winded. That's why we say brevity, working within a time space. And the next C is what? Clarity. What the senator was referring to as correct. In journalism, there's nothing called correct. When we say ABC, we're talking about accuracy, brevity, and clarity, meaning that all stories must be unambiguous, must be coherent. But our senator who claims to know everything chose to embarrass himself to say, hey, the C stand for correct. So, Senator, you are in the wrong. Let me provide this other education for you. Senator, it is true that the role of a podcaster is to gather information. It's to disseminate information. You're absolutely right. A podcaster can also be an entertainer. And you do this thing via social media. You can come down and you talk about what is happening in the house. You talk about what you're doing in your constituency. Absolutely. We will not come after you with media ethics. However, I want you to understand this. What is happening under the canopy of the Class Reloaded? When the podcaster brings in another person for an interview, now you have gone beyond that scope of being an ordinary podcaster. Now you are a journalist. You are now what? Disseminating public information. So when someone makes an allegation, the media ethics will hold you up to accountability, neutrality, fairness. So, Mr. Senator, the same ethics that apply to journalists. In journalism, what do? We gather public information. We disseminate, we write. We do investigative journalism as well. And we're making sure that every story is accurate, is balanced, and that everyone is treated fairly. So when you guys assemble under the canopy of the Class Reloaded and you're making all these allegations against people, yes, Senator, you people are now functioning as journalists, even though you have no training as journalists, but you have gone beyond the scope of podcasting. So let me stop there.
Okay, Josh. Before we can bring in Josh, let's try to welcome another hardcore media personnel, or media personality, Frank Sewula. Frank, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Saba.
Okay, so we'll come to you, Frank. Let's hear from George Kennedy quickly. Yeah, George, let's get an opening comment.
When the four speakers spoke to the four issues, and I just want to add by telling the senator, because in his message, in his reaction to my colleague or senior colleague, John Colley today, he said they were going to finance, they were going to make sure to reach to 100 stations across the country. I don't know where he will get the money from. Will it be government funding? Will it be what? Funding from their pockets? I don't know. We need clarity from those things, because if it will be government funding, I will be concerned as to how ERBC and Minister of Information will function, as we said all the time. So the ethical issues being already discussed, but I'm more concerned about this issue. As I said here before, as a government, we should go beyond our safe zones and explore what we call rough terrains to spend some money, appear on those stations that we consider critical radio stations or media houses. I mean, let us be interviewed by critical media houses, both print and electronic. I think it's necessary because they have their own audiences. Those audiences need to hear from us, the other side of a coin, because there's only one message. Message from Class Reloaded. Is it very credible to others? To them, do they listen to it? Are we worried as to whether their numbers there increasing or decreasing? I mean, the audiences increasing or decreasing. So I think you said something the other time. I want to repeat again. You said government, the Ministry of Information must come up with a communication strategy that incorporates all media institutions, because the government is now governing. We are not in the campaign mode.
Mute your microphone until you are about to speak. Mute your microphone. Okay, so let's hear from Frank Sewula. He's a Liberian journalist, been around for quite a long time. Mr. Frank Sewula, I don't know whether you listened to the tape, the recording we just played, but in that recording, Senator Dallas Dillon, in reaction to John Colley, he said that they've launched the Class Reloaded for the purpose of telling their own story. So we don't know whether LBS is not doing so or whether MICAD is not doing so, but he said the principal reason is to tell their own stories because the other independent journalists are not doing so. They are not telling the story, so they want to tell that story. You've been you are a media professor or teacher. Let's hear from you. What's your take about what he said? Because according to John Colley, it's like strangulating the media. Monies are supposed to pay to the media. They are refusing to pay those monies. Rather, they want to serve as journalists. Let's hear from you, Frank.
Thank you very much, and it's good to be on your show. I don't know whether you can get me clearly.
Yes, you are. You are
clear.
Yes, I don't want to deal with the specifics concerning John Colley and the senator, but I know sometime back when John, my own friend and brother, got very close to the CDC, I made some comments on Facebook, which some people were not satisfied with. Independent journalism, what I can say is dying. It's dying, and it's also dying in the West, as you know. The issue of government upon government creating their own media cocoon and co-opting journalists is not strange. I can take you back to the early days of the first Unity Party government. I was in Dakar. I got reports, credible reports were received that certain group of journalists were co-opted by the then regime and taken to Ghana on several trips. We heard about golden handshakes. Some of those who ran media institutions like me, I started my news online and didn't get supplement even up to date from the government. Yet we decide not to curse or abuse the government. For the people who call themselves podcasters, I don't regard them as journalists. At no point are they journalists. They are propagandists who are just trying to carry propaganda for governments, past, present. And let me tell you who a journalist is. We have code of conduct ethics to guide journalists. I heard Moses talking about the ABC of journalism. Article 7 of the PL Code of Conduct, it says, quote, the journalist should put himself or herself above partisan ideological cleavages in order to give greater prominence to the norms and professional practices. Now, those so-called podcasters, and one thing I must say, I commend Henry Costa, who constantly say, I'm not a journalist, and they are not journalists. People refer to people once, and this thing is spread like cancer. Every talk show host is considered a journalist. Everybody who talk and badmouth people and what have you are considered journalists. They are not journalists. And this is why I said on LBS, ELBC, Hassan Kewu's program, SMS show about 2 weeks ago, that one of the journalists who had been practicing in this country that I respect is our colleague, Jonathan Pelele. Pelele did an honorable thing. You can't be journalist and politician. You can't be journalist and propagandist. You can't be journalist and in the pockets of politicians. Jonathan did the honorable thing to have bowed out of journalism, professional journalism, and jumping into politics. But right now, we see a lot of hypocrisy. There are people who are in the hands, in the pockets of the politician, both the past and the present, and who claim to be journalists, but actually they serve by and large as propagandists and public relations officers for politicians. And with the explosion of politically owned media houses, that has even made things worse. So we must be clear here. You know, a journalist is a journalist. You can't be journalist and politician. You can't be journalist and propagandist for politician or whoever involved. So we are under serious, independent journalism is under serious threat. I'm telling you. And without serious efforts, we might see explosive situations sometime to come, especially when it comes to the radio. And now we have the emergence of the social media. When there's a breakdown of law and order, it's going to be very dangerous because you have people who are not looking at truth, who are not pursuing the truth, but rather who slanting issues to support the political side, one side or another. And this is dangerous for the country. We saw that in Iran in 1994 with Radio Mekele. And if we're not careful, I have been recording some talk programs by people who used to be journalists, but today they're not even talking like journalists. They're not even talking like lawyers. You know, so it's dangerous, and we must stand up to preserve, to uphold independent journalism. I covered the Civil War, and I know a number of other colleagues did cover the Civil War. Had it been only propaganda journalists, the war would not have ended. So
let's wait them. Let's wait them, Frank.
So you can see what's happening in Gaza. Had it not been for independent journalism, the evils, the abuses, the war crimes and crimes against humanity from both the Hamas and the Israeli government would not have been unveiled. And BBC and other independent journalists are doing a great job. So that's what we need. The world needs to uphold independent journalism, not propaganda.
Not propaganda journalism. Okay, thank you very much, Frank. Let's hear from you, Mr. Gabriel Williams. You listened to Darius Dillon as well, Senator Dillon, in his response to or reaction to John Corley. He said, "Well, we're doing more and more. We're going to hire more radio stations, close to 100 of them, to propagate our objectives, because what we intend to do is to tell our stories when you guys who claim to be the journalists are not telling the stories for the government. So how does that affect the media landscape? How does it tranquilate the media in any way?"
Very great question, Saba. And once again, thank you for having me on. Just one quick observation, though. I think it would be appropriate for you to, at least give your guests, in a sense, appropriately introduce them. Because if you just say Gabriel Williams was a journalist, or is a journalist, everyone here is a journalist. But who are we? So, if individually, like me in my case, and if you don't mind, I can use that opportunity, because there are a lot of people out there who may not know who Gabriel Williams is, and I'm appearing on your program for the first time, right? And so, if you may,
just go ahead quickly.
Yeah, and that will lead me to my answer. I started off my career at the Daily Observer, and and then I served in the leadership of the Press Union of Liberia before the war. And I was actually the longest serving acting president of the Press Union. And I led, through that transitional period, the constitutional order back in the Press Union by organizing, elections to put the organization back in the constitutional court, and declined not to contest after several years. You may recall that during that period, We led, and I'm coming somewhere with everything else you guys are saying, but please allow me, because I'm coming with historical context. During the years of the war and contention, when the country was divided, Taylor and his people in Banga, we on this side, two separate media, we are at war back and forth. And we, the leader of the press union, we decided at some point that, look, if Mr. Taylor is willing to meet us, we're going to meet him for us to reconcile. Eventually, Taylor invited us to Banga. We spent a week with our brothers and sisters. And we met Mr. Taylor. We reached agreements with respect to coordination. By the way, the opening of the road that came about through the ECOWAS mediation, we were the first to propose that to Mr. Taylor, face-to-face meeting in his office. And he said it was a very beautiful idea. That actually came from me, because he was saying that the journalists, the same thing we're saying here, certain people in the government saying, or a section of the media writing negative things about them, they're critical of them, there's nothing good. But Taylor actually asked this question: why you guys hate me so much? What have I done that nothing good that I would do here resonates with you? And I told Taylor is, look, you have created an atmosphere where it is difficult for the journalists to cover you. Open the road and let the journalists begin to come in and move in freely. And Taylor turned to Joe, the late Joe Motoba, then his Minister of Information, and Gaspar Yemento, his press secretary, say, work with your colleagues. We reached an agreement with those guys. We came to Monrovia. What did they do? That Taylor had paid us. Taylor paid us. And it led to a lot of row. Before me, nobody played my integrity. And before we did that, we resigned. But coming to this thing, the situation right now, it's a similar thing. There's a need for the media, and the government, especially the government information dissemination mechanism, the Ministry of Information and the LBS and all of them to come together. The media, the press union representing the independent media, for them to come together so that a lot of these things that, that are going back and forth can be addressed. Mr. Colin Riley made a point that, a section of the media is being strangulated because, if you're not somebody's friend, they're not going to pass advertisement. And the independent media, many of them are being strangulated because of that. The senator also made his point that, the journalists, most of these journalists fail, to disseminate their information about them in a balanced way. So between there, you can find a way forward. We had a similar situation with the Ministry of Information just before the war came during the Joe time, where the press union reached an agreement with the Ministry of Information, example the government, where we begin to work together to open the space. So what they're doing, all of the thoughts you guys have expressed are well in place. I'm not going to belabor them, but there is a need, I will just conclude on that, for the Ministry of Information and the press union. I think they have a Publishers Association. These groups for them to come together and collectively see how some of these things can be put on the table and addressed. And I bring one more last point. When as the saying goes, the media holds the pen, they hold the microphone. So those who are in government, and you think you can circumvent the media and create your own alternative, you will find out in the end that you're digging a real bad hole for yourself. So the best thing for them to do, and I'll give you an example. During the 26th Independence event at this Trinity Cathedral, where Bishop Selly, the Bishop of the Episcopal Church, this very, eloquent sermon this man delivered, where he made 5 recommendations. Among them, given all the challenges we're having in the country, for example, where every little project, for example, during the 26th, President Bouaka wanted to dedicate, the way people will come say it's ours, and then all this elementary back and forth. The man said that, look, why doesn't the government get together? You have the legislature and the central government come up with a 10-year development plan, and these things are enacted by the national legislature, so that any government that comes whatever development plan that is fashioned, you got to take it from there and finish it. In that way, you don't have the situation that we're dealing with. Don't you know that most of the independent media did not carry anything on the service at Trinity Cathedral? I wrote an opinion piece that was published by the Observer, the Analyst, the Inquirer, to draw attention to some of these things. So a lot of the problems we're having, because you have the gap. There's a need for better coordination between the people running the government information machinery and the independent press.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Gabriel. Thank you. Let me throw this to Alfonso Tua. Let's hear from you. You listen to your other colleagues. You made your opening comment. We'll come to Antonin Alor, Karen, and Yampu as well. But what's your take? What do you stand? How do you think we can salvage what is happening? Because what seems to be happening now is serious conflict between the independent and the government media.
Thank you, Sabo. I think there is a need to move forward. I listened to John very well. He made some salient points. And then to Senator DeLong, I think he has some issues. Senator DeLong. The fact is this. He's speaking in his capacity as a senator. If anything comes out tomorrow from his podcast or whatever he's doing, will he hide himself under the canopy of being a senator, or what would that happen? That's one thing we need to look at. Now, with what John said, I think it becomes very, very important. There are some instances where when politicians are like trying to do their own show. I mean, if you are a commentator, fine, because one would say, well, I'm a specialist in military issues. I'm a specialist in environmental issues. You can speak on that. But if you come in to move deeper into politics, fine. But then, what is there as a journalist? I mean, that needs to go to the media. Give that space to them, rather than you taking over everything. I mean, I totally agree with John. To be honest with you, with Dylan's line, here's what I have to say. To say, well, I'm going to go deeper. In fact, I'm going to go more into that. It tells you that he has something sinister. I mean, I have to say from that point that, well, probably you guys are not doing what we expect you to do. So therefore, I will have to do my own thing. I think that's the point he's looking at. But that should not be the case. So I think what he needs to do is that, look, let's find a way to speak to dialogue, see what we need to do. Where we have gaps, like William said, let's find a common ground and say they move forward. But if you keep on moving forward, you say, well, I will continue, irrespective of what, I will continue. It's like you're trying to downplay what has been said. So I think there's a need to switch and move forward.
Okay, thank you very much. Anthony Alor, let's hear from you. With what is obtaining, with the reaction from Darius Dillon, in fact, even promising and bragging that they will have the resources to even hire more stations to effectuate their aim on the class reloaded. What do you think that's happening now? Mr. Kane?
All right, thank you so much for again. After you were talking with Mr. Tuwesti. So again, I just want to reflect us back. Less than 3 years ago, we had a Christie-led administration, and we had a similar discussion. According to them, they felt they were not being treated well by the independent media. They believe the independent media was actually reporting their story well. they also believe at the time that the independent media was more emphasis, more time to the opposition that Dillon were head. Because of that, they opened of shows on Kiss FM and others, on Bourgeois Radio, is it Banner FM and others institutions that have members as here, and they had a podcast that was criticized by the media, criticized by even the opposition that Brother Dillon and others were in. Again, this is the issue. So now it has turned those who are benefiting from the media at the time, those who were benefiting from the independent media, they are now in government, and the media is not critical of them, asking them hard questions. How is this? How is this happening? What is the answer? But the guy say no. So if you have your own platform, nobody will ask you hard questions. Mr. Or anybody on radio will not have the opportunity to ask how was it. So you can get a in any form and manner you want. I think our politicians want leeway. They want to go with our high question because they're about CDC, the Unity Party, the last regime. All the guys are fed up is hard question. It's not the issues raised by Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams, we are on the ground. I'm not saying the media is perfect. The media is not perfect. Equally so, our politicians are also not perfect. They are all finding ways and means to blame the other for an inaction. So we cannot blame the media here. We blame the failure of the politicians from coming to the media and state their story. And once you state your story, if it is not correct, we will ask you the hard question. And that is what they do not. So if you have your own podcast, say, nobody gonna ask. When people call on your people, you cut them off. That's what they do. If you cut them off. You do not do that on the radio.
Okay.
So the problem is not with us.
Okay, gentlemen, let me throw this and then beginning with Yamplu. You listened to Senator Dillon. He said, we are not going to pay monies to people, like what they were receiving before telling our stories. His words, men of me who's media savvy and men of me who knows the PR. You see with what is happening on the Class Reloaded or other networks, that they are controlling. You think it's a form of PR that they are doing? It's a form of public relations that they are doing. Does it mean that they are media savvy and they are getting out the message to the majority of the people? Let's begin with you, Yamplu, on that.
Well, I think Mr. Sandy is quite correct when he referred to the senator as somebody who's trying to be a jack without trade and master of none. What John's raised, the issues that John raised when he appeared on Truth FM didn't require a response or a verbal response or a kind of a war of words between John and Senator Dillon. Like I said, John is a constituent of Montserrat County. So if he raises a concern as someone who is actually serving the people, that could trigger a kind of policy action that could, ameliorate the situation. If John is calling the attention of the government officials to say that what you are doing is economically strangulating the media, then we can have a conversation with the media to say, how can we solve the situation? But that is not what the kind of response that we got from Senator Dillon. Unfortunately, he's trying to just beat that he's a media savvy guy. And like Mr. Williams said, that gets us nowhere. As Mr. Sinwola said, we have a situation where independent media, independent journalism is dying. That's for sure. But independent media is dying because factional media is what the government thrives on. That's what government strategy thrives on. I was, until recently, I think it's been 6 months ago, when I left the government, I was in the assistant minister role for information services. And when I hear the senior colleagues talk about the responsibility that the Ministry of Information has in like synchronizing and channeling, streamlining public information from government angle, I'm just disappointed because you don't have the expertise currently at the Ministry of Information to do that job. It is the Ministry of Information within the structure of the government that has to advocate for the media. And to date, we don't see it. We don't see that. The expertise to do that does not exist at the Ministry of Information right now. And that is very sad. And the reason why it's sad, because even at the highest level within the government itself, we don't see an interest in developing and professionalizing the Liberian media. And so John is right to raise the concern. But like I said, if the government we have today was taking economically sensitive action, being very sensitive to the economy, the economic progress, the economic development of the citizens, a key sector of which is the Liberian media, we would not have Mr. Kwali to raise his voice. Recently, I raised an issue when the Jeremy Pia Ministry of Information said they launched what they call a government town hall. And I raised the concern. I said, this government town hall, this is something that we have media institutions, they are already doing it. If you want to do government town hall, you just contract one of them to do it on behalf of the government. That's how you make tax dollars to go around and improve the economy. But if the government is trying to do everything for itself, because, I mean, we're in a strained economic situation, and the government thrives on factional journalism, factional media kind of work, that's what you're going to be having. Until we can get to the point where the government of Liberia, maybe past and present, are economically sensitive to the difficult situation that the media is facing today, we're going to have the kind of message coming from Mr. Coley. I mean, and we're going to the output that we are having in the media today. That's what we're going to have, because you're not putting. The media is strangulated, and we are not coming together as a body to raise our voice to the government to say, up to provide some suggestion and direction to the government to say, you could take XYZ action to improve the economy of the media. I was at MICAD, for a few months I was there. I saw a few media executives with cut deals with the leadership at MICAD, and once they economically satisfied and everything is okay for the rest of the media, and that happens because the government trapped on factional kind of media economy, and it wouldn't work that way. So this would be a clarion call, and I would not be hopeful that this call would be receptive, because, like I said, the expertise to pursue development of the Liberian media in the interest of the broader nation, that expertise doesn't exist at MICAD today, and we need that. We need that.
Let's hold them. Let's hold them. Yes. Okay. Yeah, Joe. Is it Moses? Yes, come in.
No, this is Frank. This is Frank.
Yeah. Come in, Frank.
Yeah, may I just throw this in? You know, some of us started journalism from high school. And the high school journalism book, we ran the first student-recorded newspaper in the country, high school paper. The fundamental traditional role of the journalists continue to remain accurate, balanced, and fair. Let me point to the meeting that my senior brother Gabriel talked about, to Banga. I happen to have been in my early days in journalism as one of the sub-editors at a paper called Plain Talk, when that trip was made. And I tell you, given my own circumstances during the war, before the ECOMOG took over Monrovia, I was surveyed by the MPFL, stripped naked, and what have you. ECOMOG came, I went to Monrovia, started practicing journalism. I decided to take a role of a journalist. But there were certain people who felt that because Taylor or NPFL did what it did, you shouldn't even report the good that was done. I can remember there was a major incident in Buchanan. Taylor put his feet down, and I wrote an editorial. I mean, praising that effort and calling for the factions to respect human rights. And some of my colleagues were angry. Why we're talking good about Taylor? Why are you even reporting what's happening behind the lines? We were considered as Monrovia journalists. The threat came from Professor Mulbach to go to Bangkok. Nobody wanted to go. There were people who were saying, how will we dignify Taylor? We shouldn't even report on anything that the NPFL did, positive or negative. So this is the basis of what I said earlier. As journalists, no matter which side we're on, we must take a position of being fair, accurate, and balanced, and not biased. But if you take a position, there's an expression: if you ride on a tiger's back, don't be afraid to get in the stomach, in the stomach, and we should remember that we have a traditional role. For some of us, we don't get ad. Even during the election, I never got ad for the ruling, neither the CDC. But I never used my platform for propaganda against the other side. So that's the point. One of the points here is the lack of trust. And some of us don't behave as journalists, we behave as partisan journalists. And to a large extent, we're not even playing the role of journalists. We are propagandists. Because you take money, you heard what the former Commerce Minister said, and that is typical of what happens. I'm not mentioning specific institutions or individuals, but the traditional role of the independent media is that we report on all sides, being fair, and take ourselves out of the story. If we want to be journalists, we must be journalists. If we want to be propagandists, we must be propagandists. And this is one of the things that I see happening. And that's the reason why I said independent journalism is under serious threat. And there's a need. When I spoke at the Kwekwe School of Journalism commencement a few years ago, I suggested to the media development institutions to set up an endowment fund to help independent journalism. Because if we want to get it from the politicians, we'll continue to be in the pocket, we'll continue to toe their line. We'll go on the air, we'll abuse, we'll use vulgarism against the other side because we paid to play the game of the politicians.
Okay. So, let's hold you there, Frank. Let me hear from you, Mr. William. This issue that we are discussing tonight appears to be a perennial problem, in our society, in our country. I heard some of you talking about your experience with the CDC. You spoke about your experience with even when Mr. Taylor was in office. So this is how do we find a way out of this? How do we, when an administration comes to power, what should happen? How do we ensure that the administration, the independent media, and the government work together to inform and educate the public about the government's achievement? Because, like we heard from Senator Darius Dillon, he said this is lacking. That's the reason why they decided to launch or relaunch the Class Reloaded. So how do we ensure that this perennial problem is solved, especially under this administration? Mr. William.
Yes, it's a long-standing problem indeed. But as with individual or with society, every people has a set of challenges. And it has gone on, but the reason why we haven't had a total breakdown, is management, guys. Management, for crying out loud. Leadership. And I will give you three quick, examples. One, when when, for example, when I told you about, for example, it took leadership as leaders of the press union to go meet with Mr. Taylor in Bangla. And with all the hostilities, for Taylor to say, okay, let the press union be reunited. The union that was divided, we were the first to begin the process of reuniting Liberia. I gave you an example about the road. So leadership. Then will come, during my days in the Salif administration. One of the reasons why I came, and I'm using these examples, I don't just want to talk in oblivion. I want to give examples and then in the end recommendations. During I came in as, at the Ministry of Information in the wake of the major PR challenges the government faced in the wake of the Taylor's arrest in Nigeria. And you talk about the hostilities between the Taylor, supported media. You will always have cleavages. You will always have these divisions. But all along, there have been independent, strength. Most of the guys, the media establishments that were on the ground operating, many they were sympathists towards Charles Taylor. And in the wake of Taylor's arrest, with all the animals, all the hostilities and anger, I don't have to go through that. But it was through that I was recommended to Madam. Of course, she knew me years back, since my days as a journalism scholar at the United Nations headquarters in New York. I was the first Liberian. That's where I got to meet her one-on-one. And that relationship went. So when they went to her and said, look, Gabriel, let's get him. When they contacted me, the first thing I told them was that I will not preside over the closure of any newspaper in our country, given everything I've gone through. If you want to agree, you'll take your job. They said, well, we know, Madam is for democracy. This is why we need somebody like you. So I went, and after Minister McLean left, we went, Minister Brooklyn and myself. You saw the relationship with the media that we built. It was a different orientation because of leadership, reaching out to the journalists in the independent press, as much as they were hostile towards us. Eventually, before you look, we're all friendly, we're all buddies. Now, you come to the public poverty reduction strategy, the PRS, which was the national development plan for the government. I happen to have represented the Minister of Information, my boss, at the cabinet meeting at the mansion when Minister Syed, Dr. Syed, introduced the draft of the PRS. They released the draft, and all of the ministers around the table chimed in. They gave their initial input. And I sat there because I'm a junior minister. So the president said, Mr. Williams, what says you? And I went along the line, commended the process. I said, Madam, but there's one thing that is missing here. I said, there is no media, intervention, something in the whole draft. You prepare such a beautiful document, how are you going to inform and educate the people? If there's no media proposal or media attachment as to how the information is going to get to these people when this program is national development plan for the entire country. There were instances where my intervention was being played down, but the president said no. Minister Williams just made a very important recommendation. So she said, and Madam, when you make recommendation to her, you will be prepared to have some recommendations as to how it will be solved. She ain't got no patience. You come up with a good idea, but then you don't know how to deal with it. But I had my alternative. Based on that, that's when we came up, with that Lift Liberia. Do you guys remember it? That media aspect with Dr. Raphael Pele. She led it. She was a staff of the president. That Lift Liberia. We made, that public information out there to seek the need, how to bring the document to the people. What need would be better? We made that, put that campaign out. There was a young lady who proposed that name, Lift Liberia, and she won the award. So in that way, you get public participation. But if we want to do the information thing, as it is us against them, here's what I'm seeing, all of the egos are going up. It's not helpful to the government. Eventually, I'm telling you, if it continues, it's the government that will be hurt most. I gave you an example of what happened at Trinity Cathedral. That very important sermon the bishop delivered, it was never publicized to the Liberian people. Very limited publicity. That was media coordination. In fact, I didn't even know that all of these things were going on until today. But I had written in that article, and you can go back to the Observer or the Analyst or the Inquirer, that, you know, there's a need for the government to really look at their media management because something is wrong. Something is wrong. And it has, again, I come back, management.
Okay. Well, thank you. Let me try to through these questions for all of us to answer, and then we can open the lines for our listeners to also interact. But let me begin with Frank Siwula. Frank, I don't know. Let me ask first. Is this a new phenomenon for a group of officials of a government to join together and do a show or launch a radio program? Is this a new phenomenon in our society, or have you seen this around in the media and following the performance of other governments? Have you seen this, and if so, how much impact do you think can that make in terms of getting the government information across? Frank?
Yes, I don't think it's very new, but what is disturbing now is that we have a higher level of political ownership of media institutions. The propaganda is even gone to our state radio, EFBC. You see, is being hosted by propagandists from the UP, the ruling UP, the so-called Nightline program. And we see it with other stations. We see it with George Weah, former President Weah's Kings FM, with our former colleague, William, who is now a lawyer, and the kind of propaganda that they talk, the kind of hit messages, his speech on both his program and the Nightline program on our national station, state radio, we would not see the effect always warn until there is a breakdown of law and order. They will lead us to Rwanda. I've recorded some of the clippings from those programs, including the Kings FM program and other things. Our former colleague doesn't even talk like a journalist, neither does he talk like a lawyer. And it's dangerous, but we will not see the effect. The so-called class Lole is an example. When there is a breakdown of law and order in this country, the hate speech, the fake news, and all, mind you, those radio programs are online, live on social media. But we won't see the effect until there's a breakdown of law and order. Even a fraction of breakdown law and order, we see the danger, because the radio stations and social media have been weaponized by those propagandists, politicians, like the hosts of the program in government offices, at the ministries or agencies. In the evening, they're on the radio, and the gullible society, and that's the fear. Like I said, over the recent years, there are people in a society, because these people are frequent on the radio, they can't tell the difference between they and journalists. Like our own former Secretary General of the Press Union, Musa, was on earlier. And Gabriel asked that you introduce people. Now, there are people who are prostituting the profession, so who is Musa? Our corp official, is he a journalist or a politician? So we have people crisscrossing, and it becomes very dangerous. In case of breakdown law and order, I'm afraid with the radio and the social media, we'll be in for a serious chaos.
Okay, thank you. Let's hear from you, Mr. Alfonso Stewart. You listen to the question that I asked Frank Sewula. What are the group of individuals, public officials gather together, launching a radio show? What is new in our society? Have you seen that? What it is not? And if so, how much impact can that make, or can that create for our people in terms of educating and informing our people? Alfonso. Mr. Tua?
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Go ahead quickly.
I think what Frank said is quite right, but this is not, for me, I think it is new. Looking at current realities, what's going on is new. And the reason or reasons for which they might have come together is, I think, to propagate specific thing they want it to be heard. That is it. Because it's like, we are together, this is what we want to be done, so let's move together. So it's based upon that, they have set agenda to pursue that. They want specific things to be heard. I think it is not very good, to be honest with you. Because if what happens tomorrow, if they are no longer in those positions, will they continue? They will certainly not continue. So, assuming today you are a senator, next, will you continue that same program? No, you won't continue. So it's a bad precedent. The next thing is this. It's hard to say in the way that some of them will continue to ride on throughout. And like Frank said, stations have started moving in different directions. You have LBS speaking from different angle. You have Kings FM. I think what needs to be done, from my standpoint, is this: the PUL needs to step in. It's got to speak in. PUL needs to step in to lower the tempo, or else it's going to end up bad, and the results will be very terrific.
Okay, let's hear from you, Mr. Yamplu. Before we hear from Mr. Gabriel William, is what we're seeing today, and we are talking about that sparked the debate between John Corley and Senator Darius Dino. Do you see something new for group of public officials to gather in one room and launch a radio program? Have you seen that before? And if so, how much impact do you think can that really create in terms of educating and informing our people?
Well, let me say to my prof, Frank. Frank taught me. He was the first to teach me broadcast news writing at Jaira School of Journalism, run by Christian Media Center. So, but let me say to the prof that the journalism that you people taught us in the classroom is not what is practiced in Liberia today. And unfortunately, those days are gone. I can say that to you, Prof, emphatically. Those days are gone, Prof. You may have to come to that harsh reality, because when the likes of Veritas, Star Radio, and those independent institutions that actually practice journalism, I'm not sure today you can point to one independent media in Liberia. When I joined the mainstream media after I left the school, the practice that I found in the newsroom was quite opposite from what we learned. Because if media managers were requiring newsmakers to pay the transportation of the reporters, that they were not paying the cost of gathering the news, and that has been institutionalized today. For example, that when the reporters go to make a press briefing and they require Mika to pay their way every day, we don't have independent journalism. I was part of the government in the initial days. We had a meeting with media managers and when the government was dishing out money packages in envelope, then you want to understand where we are. But the point that John Colley raised is purely economic, and it has to be addressed holistically. And to go back to the days of independent journalism, it has to be a policy action by some benevolent actor that is non-government, or the government itself has to take that action in the interest of the general population. But if you're going to leave the management of media to private actors as we have it today, those with the biggest pockets, the heaviest pockets, are going to rule the day. So that culture is not there. To respond to your question, your question, Sobo, just before I close, is that what you see happening with Class Reloaded is unfortunately a weak system trying to massage the ego of people at the apex of government information dissemination that actually believe, that actually equate communication to talking. That's basically what the approach of government communication is right now within the government information machinery. They believe that to be at the apex of government information, you must be heard. And when you are not heard, it means that you are not working. And that's basically what has now translated into what you see in Class Reloaded and other government-run entities. And unfortunately, that realization is not even at the level of the executive management to say that what we have at MICA today is not information, it's not government public information work. But until we come to that realization, you're going to have what we're having today.
Okay.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's basically what it is.
Okay, let's go there. Mr. William, let's hear from you quickly so that we open the lines. What we're seeing today, Mr. Williams, from your days when you served, when you were practicing in the days of Mr. Taylor and then former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, have you seen a group of public officials? Did you see that practice where a group of public officials gather in the room and said they were doing a radio program to tout the policy, the activities of the government? And if so, you've seen how much impact did they create or would that create?
Well, I think somebody mentioned about the evolving of the media, social media, everything else. So the dynamics of everything have changed. But yes, when you go back to history, there were times where you have political figures funding newspapers. They did it in the past. You want an example? The Sun-Times newspaper. The Sun-Times newspaper, they support, the list of Sylvester Grisby. He funded it. But I never went to the paper one day to raise issue with Mr. Dapo. And you know how fiercely independent the Sun-Times was. The funder was Mr. Grisby. And he was, one of President Doe's confidants. But he believed in the independent means. And after they shut down the Daily Observer, there was no other outlet, and Mr. Dapo was available to run an independent paper. They did it. So, but for officials to leave and to start funding newspaper or broadcast, it's not sustainable. It's seriously not sustainable. The most that they can do, whatever resources are available to, put it in LBS, the other media outlets within the information ministry. You have the public affairs department. Of course, Lena is no longer there. I'm not sure whether it's still there. You guys need to correct me. But, the public affairs department, and find ways in which, they can be sustained.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You made your point. Josh, you want to come in quickly so that we can open the lines?
Yes,
I
agree with everyone and them again. And the fact is, history shows clearly that this type of media practice is not sustainable. And most of the government turned to be the loser. If you saw the last from 2018 to 2023, the most recent government was pumping money in certain media institutions, forgetting about the independent media. As a result of that, they lost the vote.
Yeah, sure.
They lose the election. So these things should tell us that people should take course. you should learn from history. We should be able to learn from history. So the truth is, even if you have your own what they call show, we stay insistent that you should invest in the independent media. That should be this meeting between the president of Liberia trying to break the inner dialogue that may be existing at the moment.
Okay.
To be able to settle their differences, to get the independent media fully supported and functioning. The independent media will even do more than what Clash Reloader or whatever pro-government media institution may try to do.
Okay.
So,
well, listeners, you're listening to the Nighttime Heat right here on Prime FM 105.5. We are streaming live on Prime FM Monrovia 105.5, and also streaming live on our Facebook and YouTube channel. That's the Nighttime Heat Facebook and YouTube channel. We are also on being relayed by Radio Gegema in Nimba County. We will give it in Lofa County. This program is not basically intended. We are not trying to castigate. We are not trying to back them off, but we're trying to just provide the education and the information, for our people, because we believe all of us have a stake to this country. We don't want to see yet people say, "Oh, you trying to criticize us again," like I've begun already, receiving text messages. "Oh, you criticizing the Clash Reloader." No, we are not. We want to help you. We want to be around. Don't see us as enemies. Let's take the first call on the line quickly. Good evening. Good evening.
Hello, Sabo.
Yes, sir. Let's hear from you.
How you doing? This is Lansana Sayon.
I'm okay, sir. Let's hear from you. Okay.
I mean, this radio station is one of the independent radio stations here that I know about. But you see why you're talking about Geelong? Geelong is right 100% to be on radio. We follow them. Clash Reloaded, whosoever radio be on, we follow them. Because the problem is that for today, to get independent radio station is hard. There are radio stations now that are operating in Liberia here that giving people fake information. But go behind them, go see the building that they have. So we're not dealing with people who will be bribing, who will be bribing them to come and give you fake information. That man is the senator of Montserrat County. So we always need to hear from him. Instead of hearing from somebody or through somebody, it's better to hear from themselves.
Okay.
So he's right 100%. Any other person can do that. We say follow them. But if they are saying lies, then we know the lie.
Okay.
Moses, I cannot grade them. I say do them. They all can be already. We can follow them. We listen to them. But if they are lying like God, we know we'll judge you by your behavior.
Okay. Thank you. Let's take another call on the line quickly. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. Let's hear from you.
I'm Joseph Morrow. I'm calling from Nikutown.
Let's hear from you, sir.
John Colley just unveiled the weakness of the press.
Mm-hmm.
That is, he had no right even to ask to say Carlos Iran is me. So anytime people can be brave, but these people they can tell the right story for them, which is not all right for the media. I'm very surprised. Our Independence Day, that beside EIBC, that covered that story. No independent media, independent media went in that program. Nobody, they never went there. Independent Day will get more than 100 electronic media here. More than 100 radio stations will get here. In the EIBC, they take everything to be politics. Majority of the journalists say they are politicians. Look at Banana FM. Look at Freedom FM. Look at King 8.5. You see, all of them they are politicians. All the journalists are there, they are politicians. When you read the bottom of the government.
Okay, let's take another call on the line quickly. Good evening.
Good evening, Sabo.
Yes, sir. Let's hear from you.
Let me say good evening to all of your panelists and guests. But Sabo, I have some issue. The first issue that I want to register with you is that your first point, your first discussion, it was very important, and I expected that you are opening the line.
We didn't have the time. You did text You text me, and I apologize that we didn't have the time. So we would have never opened the lines. Instead, we opened the lines at this time.
Thank you so much. But yes, please allow me to address these 3 points very quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Theophilus Tobe. The first thing that I want to address here is that for John Colley to say officials of government are abandoning their responsibility, their job in taking the position of journalist, then I want to send a challenge to him. Let him name one official of this government who have abandoned their responsibility to go on radio station to go and talk. No, so once it's after 5 o'clock, we expect that all government offices are closed. When the men go, the rest of the other hours of the men, what he do with it, you can question him for that. Let Senator Dillon know when last John Colley promoted the work of Senator Dillon. Dillon have a rehab center. Graduate or how they call it, rehabilitating young people who are involved with drugs. That's something that we should be elevating. We should be encouraging our lawmakers to be involved with. How many of the radio stations that carry that program of Senator Dillon? The last time that I listened to you people discuss rehabilitation center on the one of your panelists was criticizing Senator Dillon that you can't graduate people who are into drugs or who are into drugs. We're criticizing him. And then yet you are saying that it is wrong for a government official. Look, Senator Dillon was crystal clear that look, whether you make it or not, the class reloaded will continue. The fact is, they should not use government hour to go on radio. Then, man, very sure we have a problem with that.
Okay, you make your point already. We can continue with you on the line. 0778-460-793. That's the number to call. Again, 0778-460-793. Or better still, 0886-540-987. Again, 0886-540-987. That's the that number to call, or you can call the orange 0778-460-793. That's the number to call, and you are live on the nighttime heat. Let's take this call on the line quickly. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Let's hear from you.
Let me say good evening to all of the panelists on the panel tonight. This is William Covey, and I joined this conversation for City. Well, let me appreciate all of you for the brilliant analysis you guys made on the various talking points. Look, first, let me begin with John or Mr. Cody, or statement made on government officials. Look, I think, just when you call him to make everything and he tries to say, oh, he never meant bad or he was not really talking bad about the law, he just wanted to be independent of Banner. On that morning, when I listened to John on the QFM, he even made accusations on Mo that in fact the water project at Mo does not worth 250,000. Now the same project you get in here, did it for 35,000. So when the public hear you saying that, why you want the public to think about Mo? Is that why you want the government officials to be the press or the radio with you to say what you want to say, to manipulate the minds of the people against government officials? No. So for me, I believe the saying that says, clean the coal from your eye before you tell somebody else to clean their coal from their own eye. So I want John and other independent journalists to muster the courage to start pointing out the goats among the sheep in the journalism field. If you can muster the courage, look in the face of Eddie William or Sekou Sharif or Oliver Khan, all the other media people who are having under the canopy of the journalism, you can look in their faces and tell them, gentlemen, you guys are spoiling our profession. Because of you, people make government officials now not trust the sector, and they want to take the matter authority in their hand now by creating their own platform. That platform was not created because the media was taking their role. Veteran journalists and everywhere, and other, let me say, John Cody and other people were playing their role to point out this happens for Emoyo. Those some are all going to join you and call upon the government to even amend
they are allowed to leave media or clearance, right? They send it to the press union of WLF.
Okay, you make a point. I will have to take additional callers on the line 0778-460-793. That's the number to call. Again, 0778-460-793, or better still, 0886-540-987, 0886-540-987. That's the numbers to call, and you are live on the nighttime heat tonight. Again, the number to call, 0778-460-793. Let's get this call on the line. Good evening. Yes, sir. Let's hear from you.
Thank you.
Okay.
You know, you guys, your students, your have your FFP. Because the media committee is looking now. We now know the real journalists now for the radio commentator. People are here, the PUA are sitting now, like AP and the other guys, they're spoiling the channel. You're saying that you're not even talking, you can't make it is the crowd rule that they put there that I get it, they come well, nobody there to tell. They couldn't lie. Try FM. Okay, if you don't get it, okay, they will know that. The other case or the court that show they can either they will know that. This week, Oliver Khan, Kamba Johnny, everybody here, people know that. You listen to the boy, they spoil you can't because everybody, generally, people that go to school for people that not go to school, you go to school for something. The men that not go there, the make us spell and then you say that you're looking at that. They say, come here, who can rule there because we have no independent media now.
Okay, many thanks.
If the media will be independent, but they are generally somebody must be among the people that bar and they can't say the possible also.
Okay, many thanks. Let's get another call on the line quickly. 0778-460-793. Good evening.
Good evening, Sobo.
Let's hear from you quickly.
Okay, so Octavian Williams speaking, the former vice president and president of Nigeria.
Let's hear from you, Mr. William.
Yeah, I'm constrained. Actually been monitoring the show, and I'm actually pressed and constrained to call. When it comes to journalism issue, that is some of our lives. That is our lives. So when the terrain is being polluted, or when there are possibility to have smells in the terrain, it is our responsibility with truth, with everything in us to speak out. I listened to Big Brother Frank Ruler, who was my boss at Radio Veritas, and I listened to Alfonso Twist, who at one point want to manage his world, at one point he want to be clever. The Liberian media have suffered a brain drain long. If we talk about that, it will be a difficult situation. So let me get this facts. Under President Samuel Kayando, there was a man called Charles Williams that died in the 1985 coup. Coming to President Taylor, there was a situation with Hassan Beliti and Trouble Swat. Under President Salih, the court system was used to suppress media workers, journalists, and I'm a victim of it. And at one point, President Salih even sued the New Green newspaper run by Roland Warwick, which was unconstitutional and forbidding. Under President George Weah, the media was strangulated economically. Under President Joseph Joma Bwaka, who the media in every aspect promoted, the media is being strangulated again economically. I'm hearing people calling and screaming insults and reading criticism on the media workers and the media profession. I do not blame them. The reason I do not blame them, I was taught and I was educated by my family that the Liberian the masses in this republic, they are one of the most ungrateful people, the masses, the common people, what the media can advocate for, the media can go on the extreme for. They are very ungrateful. So for me, I'm not surprised about the lectures and the criticism. I listened to one of the callers that said, what have John Colley did? Why John Colley did this one? Women. The no Liberian media have contributed and sacrificed in the society John Colley did.
If you refuse to get a permanent now because today John Colley is seeing one minister to leave the talk show and do a short job, that's fine. That's today's argument. As the Darrell Dillon today, I came to permanent. My level only ran for Darrell Dillon coming to permanent today from Radio Valentine when he was in prison, working at the legislature. I had a program there called Press Talk. As Darrell Dillon, I interviewed him from prison. Let's go leave all that. Let's come to the reality. The last meeting we had with President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, before the last with President George Weah, we have said to the executive marshal, the executive marshal, the president official page is being abused. We asked the two presidents that the executive marshal, the president official page, the executive marshal website, it is where all the executive players are going now. We don't know who paying for it, why they paying for it, what's happening. We caution the presidents, the two president officers, we caution them. We told them that the Liberian media is being strangulated economically because nobody doing business with the media in terms of a president. A president, I mean.
Okay.
So the executive marshal website cannot be abused. It is for the president messages.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. You made a point. You made a point. I think you made a sufficient point. Let's take another call on the line quickly. Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. How are you?
I'm okay, sir. Let's hear from you quickly.
Yeah, but what we do that focus on media today. Our brother then really making us speak. How did this country people and there's it is in government? How do I say it into our country? Even Liberia we have. In Calabria, I will know where you. Then they travel in the people country and see the different there. Start for politics, people go apart. After politics, they're united. And Liberia doesn't do it. You other government cars, you see a lot of people, and they say, I all generally bring that you establish the influence people wanted for you to honor friends. But I will read the here, just continue to focus the bad. That's the way you have to die. So that way back, I can remember in Monrovia, 99, 2004, 5, 3, up, one guy across 2 miles in the 50. So that was a good generation in Liberia. They say the truth. But there are, we ourselves our own brother in this season. Look at our own party channels, some of party channels, Meridian Money. They don't do a second for protection. You say now I know it's government work. You're not even one time to work. And what is that we continue to do?
Okay, many thanks. Let's go back to our guest to respond to the there now. I know Mr. Tue there. Mr. Tue, okay, 3. Mr. Tue is there. Let's try to hear from him. Mr. Tue, you listen to the callers, you listen to the points that they made. What do you make of it? And your parting comment as well. Mr. Tue?
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Okay, I listened to almost all of them. They have their own thing to say, whatever pleases him or her. Say, okay, it's fair to say that. But fairness, like, yeah, it's actually going low. I think that one of the callers said I really took is publishing on Executive Marshal website. This is totally wrong. It's totally wrong. I've never seen that in my entire life. To see the office of the presidency, the official page to go and advertising private businesses there. And that's happening. And nobody's talking. So I think this needs to stop. And I think the Ministry of Information and those at the marshal will have to work towards this thing. The next thing is that we need to move power. Whatever we do, the authorities say also the masses, they should be able to come up and say something. And then and so that the long look, the media has helped you a lot. I mean, there are some things that you know about what happened in the past. It has come to light. So I think you need to find a way and lower your tune. But to be in an aggressive mood, I'm sorry, it won't help you at all. So if you want to go ahead, you can go on, but it should not be at the detriment, like John Collins said, of order. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so Mr. Gabriel Williams, let's hear from you. What you make of the callers and your parting comment as well.
Yes, I think, pretty much the same thing. There's a need, for order. There's a need for leadership. Everything points to leadership. In any organization or in any setting, if you don't have leaders, people who can really do what's supposed to be done, you have this kind of situation. So the challenge is the governments to be able to put in a good management team, to manage the media. And they need to fund the Ministry of Information and LBS, providing the government need to do that. They need to do that. But unfortunately, in Liberia, I have always said that the media is always an afterthought. An afterthought. They don't prioritize it. So you see failures after failures of government. To the extent that Madam Seri succeeded, she tried her best to pay attention to the media, bring in credible people who will run the institution, fund the necessary resources. Of course, there were challenges from one time to another, but being able to do that. If you fail to do it, then there's a problem. To conclude, my man Frank, I didn't know, you were here until, later on, Frank Siwola, my own brother Coley. Thank you. It's such a pleasure seeing you, my man. Yes. When someone like you on the ground, then I know that we are doing our best. So God bless you, brother. Continue to stay there. And finally, I heard something like crickets, like frogs, them in the background. Is that true? Man, almost put me to sleep. How I missed that behind my house.
Yes.
Yeah, man, it's beautiful, guys. Soba, my man, thanks for having me on for the first time. When you have some of the friends on, if you have some of the friends on and stuff, Moses, I'll be encouraged to come more. And all the young up and coming guys, I don't know all of your names, but I mean, all of the input have been very good. At the end of the day, let the government engage the media, let them work together. This us against them attitude is not going to be helpful for the government. So I hope there will be the Publishers Association, Liberian Publishers Association, and the Press Union of Liberia. I hope they will take the lead in engaging the government to see whether work towards meeting up the minds. So thank you guys for the opportunity to have me on.
Thank you, Mr. Gabriel Williams. Let's hear from you, Frank, quickly so that we can call it a quit. Mr. Frank Siwola, please unmute.
Yes, okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. What I can say quickly is that we journalists should not underestimate the public, because we are there to serve the public interests. Majority or many of them may not want to praise you at a certain point, but our objective for good journalism is the public interest, and not party interests, but the country's interest. So as journalists, first and foremost, we must be nationalistic and patriotic. So if we put the country interest above, we put the national interest above the interest of selfish politicians and their political parties. And support for independent journalism is most critical. I hope the international and local media development groups should think about that. And if we want to be journalists, let us be journalists. We can't be journalists and propagandists at the same time, or politicians. Let us be fair, balanced, accurate. And we should put a stop, not to restrain or to stop these people, but they should be self-regulated, because They are a potential for spewing misinformation, disinformation, and make the country look like we continue to be in election. You look at the ruling Unity Party in election mode. The Clash Reloaded, the opposition CDC with their satellite stations. I think it's dangerous. And as I warned, we would not see the danger of this until there is even a fractional breakdown of law and order. Then we'll know that these stations are weaponized and they will pull us down to ethnic, tribal, all kinds of hatred. Because if you listen to their broadcasts, you hear them spread across the board everywhere. So let us be on the watch. Let us support independent journalism.
Okay. Josh, your parting comment quickly.
Thank you. I want to join Frank. Every one of them, they are my instructors, I would say, they are my seniors in the media. I want to join them to call on the government. There's a need for reconciliation. There's a need for the government to open up to the independent media. In my opinion, I've repeated this here, that the government information dissemination process will strive further if all you open up to the independent media. I want the president to hear this, and the information minister. Don't weaponize the media. We want you to govern. We want you to lead. We want you to do things differently from past governments that have been mentioned. You still have the time. And I believe that this is going to happen, because I know some people will be surprised why we're saying this, because some of us came here with our media mind. We know that the thriving media will be necessary to enhance democracy, and a strong democracy will definitely enhance economic development, economic growth. So we are saying that at least let's do things better this time.
Okay.
And move our country forward.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. George Kennedy. Before we go, let's try to recognize some of our viewers. Melvin Nathaniel Jolo didn't say from where he's been watching. Ophelia, as George said, she's been watching from home. Vinicius GM Ba didn't say from where. Solomon Pay from Kakata District number 3. LRB DJT didn't say from where. Siliki Traore didn't say from where. Salia M. Yen from Capital Bypass. Pastor Samuel Sham from home. He said Amos Wa from the USA. Jedo from Sanokari. Ibrahim B. Kumar from Iron 5 HR Mark did he say from where? Zico Chia from Gato Zero. Ernest Bryan did he say from where? Moses Modu from the USA. M. Taco James Bowen from Maganta City, Nimakani. Prince Phillips from ERW Junction. Bob Jonathan, did he say from where? PM Pusher, PM Pusher, Sembe Sisse, did he say from where? And Joseph B. Konyo, did he say from where? And the rest of the team. Let me say thanks to our guests. When we come here to discuss, it's in the interest of our dear country, Liberia. We don't come to criticize, to condemn, but want for us not to retrogress or repeat the mistakes of the past. Then it means that we're not going to go anywhere. For us to get some development like Ghana, we have to change our mindset. Don't see me or don't see the others as enemies to the state or enemies against your work. No, we are all partners, and of course we have to do it together to move our country forward. Until then, Wednesday we'll be here. We're trying to get the Minister of Transport to appear on this program. We're hoping that he can come. Until then, we want you to have a pleasant and restful night. So, but George is my name. Have a pleasant time.